Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for being here tonight. First of all, I want to start out by saying I'm happy to report that the state of the city of Norwalk is absolutely fantastic. I want to start also by welcoming some of our distinguished guests and my partners in service. We have State Senator Bob Duff, State Representative Kadeem Roberts is here, Norwalk Common Council President Darlene Young is here. The Norwalk Council Majority Leader, Nora Najilski-Eichner, is here as well someplace. Also, Common Council Minority Leader Heather Dunn is probably going to be here at some point. Also, really pleased to see so many council members here. Could you raise your hands if you're a member of the council? And members of the Board of Education? As earlier I said the state of the city of Norwalk is fantastic, and none of that would be true if it wasn't for all of you and all of our city employees who work so hard on a daily basis to make these things happen. Also, I want to recognize Dr. Alexandra Estrella, our superintendent of schools. City staff and Rick McQuaid, our town clerk, is here. City clerk. So I also want to welcome all of the residents, including everyone who may be tuning in online, and thank them for the opportunity to be here this evening. This is a democracy at work. We are a city for all voices. We have interpreters in Spanish and Haitian Creole for anyone tuning in online tonight. So on November 21st, I was sworn in to begin my 6th term as mayor. I'm happy to share that since taking office 10 years ago, crime is down. Our grand list has grown. We've invested in new schools and updated facilities for our students. Our tax rate is the lowest compared to similar towns and cities in Connecticut. The major rating agencies reaffirmed Norwalk's AAA bond rating, and people are noticing Norwalk more and more. Serving the residents of Norwalk continues to be the honor of a lifetime. It's a tremendous privilege to represent the residents, and I feel so blessed to live in a city with such compassion, hardworking, and community-minded individuals. Without all our community members, our city certainly wouldn't be the authentic, incredible place it is, and none of our efforts would be possible. I believe that our residents' contagious spirit of kindness and keen sense of community is what makes Norwalk so special and sets us apart from other towns and cities. We all know that our differences make us stronger. And in the city of Norwalk, we not only recognize our diversity, but we celebrate it. My goal has always been to provide for residents with the services they need in a fiscally responsible and efficient manner, and to assemble the best team possible to manage a government that works for the people. Every day, we strive to make Norwalk a more inclusive and welcoming place to live and work and thrive. And while we have more work to do, I'm proud of the progress we've made. I'm also proud of our efforts to assemble a team that reflects our diverse community. Since coming into office in 2013, I've assembled a majority woman-led city with respect to my cabinet and department heads, many of whom are here this evening, making my administration the first in the city's history to be led by a female majority. Through the creation of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office in 2022, led by Latoya Fernandez, our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, we are working towards ensuring city government operates in an equitable manner that appropriately advances all our core values of organizational diversity and inclusion. In striving to meet those goals, I'm proud to share that in 2023, the city received a score of 100 from the Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Equality Index, a national assessment of over 500 cities regarding policies and practices that support the LGBTQ+ community. The city of Norwalk offers benefits and protections to the LGBTQ+ community and employees, and has rolled out several anti-discrimination and anti-racist workshops and trainings aimed at enhancing employees' knowledge and tools about how to help create a more inclusive workplace. Earlier this month, our fire department held their entry-level exam and had nearly 1,000 people sign up for the test, 30% of those were from the minority communities, and over 100 were Norwalk residents. These efforts, led by Chief Gino Gatto, who is here this evening, are a result of the city's goal to execute a comprehensive recruitment effort that encourages more applicants from diverse backgrounds to take the test and join Norwalk's bravest. Additionally, our nationally accredited police department, led by Chief James Walsh, who is also here, has continued to prioritize the department's diversity recruitment efforts to make sure our police officers reflect the diverse community that they serve. These successful recruitment efforts have led to a force that currently includes 27% people of color and also has an LGBTQ plus liaison. We've also increased the number of Spanish and Haitian Creole interpreters, as I mentioned earlier, available to enhance our city's ability to connect with our Spanish and Haitian Creole speaking residents. As I begin my sixth term, I continue to have big plans to ensure Norwalk keeps moving in the right direction. And I know that together we can achieve them on behalf of our residents. As we look forward, education and new schools and facility upgrades continue to be one of my top priorities. Children are the future and our most precious resource. I believe that a community that invests in children and education invests in the future. That's why year after year under my administration, we have increased the operating budget for our schools at a rate far greater than any previous administration. It's also why my administration has prioritized the first major school construction projects in decades. In 2020, as you may recall, we welcomed students to a newly renovated Honus Ridge Middle School, which included renovations of an existing middle school and the construction of an elementary school. In 2022, we welcomed students to the completely renovated Jefferson Elementary School. Last fall, we welcomed students to a brand new state-of-the-art Cranberry Elementary School, the city's first new school in over 50 years. This year, we will continue to build on our commitment to new and improved schools for our children. This spring, we plan to break ground on the new Norwalk High School and begin construction of the South Norwalk School. The South Norwalk School is scheduled to open in the fall of 2025 and will be the community's first neighborhood school in over 40 years. For decades, students in South Norwalk have had to travel to other schools across the city. This has been an unfair burden to these students and their families, and establishing a South Norwalk neighborhood school will finally provide a much-deserved community school for these individuals. We've also invested in the areas surrounding the new South Norwalk School to make sure the location is safe and ready for our students. The city has allocated $3.5 million to address flooding and improve area sidewalks and streets, and to create a safer, more aesthetically pleasing environment for students and their families ahead of the school opening. We are grateful to the state for the 60% reimbursement rate that Norwalk is receiving for the construction of the schools. We also couldn't be happier to be receiving an 80% reimbursement rate from the state for the new Norwalk High School, which is projected to welcome students in 2027. These incredible reimbursement rates will save taxpayers millions upon millions of dollars while creating state-of-the-art learning environments for our children. These reimbursement rates in new schools wouldn't be possible without Senator Duff's leadership in the Senate and his unwavering commitment to Norwalk's youth. Thank you. We have also made significant investments totaling almost $2 million to support mental health services for our students and their families within the past year. So as we look ahead, another area of focus for my administration is addressing the threats of climate change through several sustainability initiatives. I am determined to make Norwalk the greenest city in the state of Connecticut. The threats of climate change cannot be overstated, and it is our responsibility to do everything we can now to help mitigate the risks on behalf of our children, our grandchildren, and future generations. These risks include extreme heat events, increasingly frequent and severe storms, and sea level rise, among others. As a coastal community, we know all too well that the daily lives of our residents and businesses, as well as city operations and emergency procedures, are particularly affected by climate change. That's why we are working on the city's first sustainability and resilience plan to help address climate change. I'm also happy to announce that we will be creating the city's first Office of Sustainability to help guide and manage these efforts. We're also developing a flood resilience plan that better serves our community for coastal flooding and enhances natural resources. In an effort to reduce carbon emissions and promote sustainable transportation, we will be expanding the city's electric and hybrid vehicle fleet and investing in electric vehicle charging infrastructures across the city. This spring, we will add electric vehicle chargers at City Hall, the police department, and the Public Works facility on Smith Street. Norwalk Transit District, under the leadership of Matt Pence, is undergoing a facility renovation that will be completed later this year, after which electric vehicle charging infrastructure will be in place and electric buses will be added to their fleet. Thank you. By transitioning to electric and hybrid vehicles, we will reduce air pollution and our reliance on fossil fuels. As you know, the city has also been committed to increasing walkability and connectivity, a crucial component of reducing our overall carbon footprint. Through our newly relaunched Mayor's Dashboard, which you can find on our website, you can see how from 2021 to 2022, the city doubled the amount of sidewalks we installed, and in 2023, we installed over 41,000 linear feet, almost 8 miles of new sidewalks. We focused our efforts on adding sidewalks near schools, residential neighborhoods, and downtown areas. In 2024 and beyond, we plan to continue this work by completing sidewalk installations on Beacon Street, Berkeley Street, Hunt Street, Rowayton Avenue, Soundview Avenue, Taylor Avenue, and West Rocks Road, among others. We also have been building new bike infrastructures throughout the city. In 2023, we created over 50,000 new linear feet of bike lanes, more than 9 miles, including the installation of the longest continuous marked bike route on any state road in Connecticut. In recent years, we've also expanded our bike racks so that cyclists have more places to park their bikes. City now has nearly 90 bike racks, and each year we plan to add more bike-friendly infrastructure. Norwalk Transit District has also been working to expand their bus services, including their micro-transit wheels-to-use services, by offering first and last mile integration with the regional bus network and Metro North train stations in Norwalk. These services aim to fill public transportation gaps and help Norwalk residents to get to where they need without needing a car, whether it's to and from work, the doctor's office, or picking up their children from daycare. The bus services provided by Norwalk Transit District, combined with the city's newly installed sidewalks, bike lanes, and bike racks, has allowed us to continue increasing walkability and connectivity while protecting our environment by reducing the city's carbon footprint. Furthermore, the city has made tree planting a major priority because of the many environmental benefits that trees provide. In the past few years, we've invested over $1 million in planting trees. In 2023, we planted a record 521 trees, and in 2024, I am determined to plant even more. To help implement the city's tree planting plan, developed through our tree management master plan, we recently added an arborist who will also manage the maintenance of our trees. She will also oversee our newly launched public tree planting request form, which allows residents to make requests on where the city should plant trees. We are focused on expanding our urban tree canopy, which provides residents with various health benefits, including addressing the rising concerns of extreme heat. We know that extreme heat disproportionately affects Black and brown communities, people living in urban areas, older adults, and those living with underlying health conditions. Through our health department, the city has partnered with UConn's Connecticut Institute for Resilience and Climate Adaptation to study the impacts of extreme heat right here in the city of Norwalk. The data we collect will be used to inform policy decisions to address the effects of climate change, such as strategic placement of cooling centers, where to plant more trees, and how to mitigate the health effects of extreme heat among residents. Furthermore, we are always looking for new ways to promote conservation and reduce city waste. Through our Department of Public Works, under the leadership of Vanessa Baladeras, who is also here, by Chief of Public Works Operations, in 2022, the city opened a third food composting drop-off location at Cranberry Park. The other two locations are Rowayton Community Center and Norwalk Transfer Station, and all three have been growing in participation. We've also added new conservation programs to recycling clothing, cans, and bottles. Another way we've increased our conservation efforts by enhancing our wastewater system infrastructure to ensure our collection system and wastewater treatment facility have sufficient capacity for all new projects. And they do. As you can see on our dashboard, we continue to steadily come in well below our wastewater flow capacity, thanks to our continued investments in infrastructure and a thorough review by the WPCA of all current and new projects. Another major priority of my administration is continuing to enhance the quality of life for all Norwalk residents. Last year, the city of Norwalk was recognized by Connecticut Insider, Fortune Magazine, and Livability.com as a top city in which to live. Fortune Magazine rated Norwalk as the best place for families to live within Connecticut and 29th in the entire nation. To continue enhancing the quality of life, we recently adopted our 10-year Recreation and Parks Master Plan, which aims to expand recreation opportunities to benefit residents' physical, social, and emotional health. I want to thank Robert Stowers, our Director of Recreation and Parks, and his team for their hard work on this effort. Thank you, Robert. Our Department of Recreation and Parks is also working towards achieving accreditation through the National Recreation and Parks Association, which would make us among the first municipalities in the state to achieve this designation. One significant initiative from the master plan that's already in the works is creating the brand new Norwalk Community Recreation Center at 98 South Main Street in South Norwalk. The Community Recreation Center will be an incredible resource where community members can come together to exercise and engage in social activities. The master plan also includes increasing outdoor recreation facilities by adding year-round tennis programs, expanding amenities for Norwalk's furry family members at our dog parks, and completing the construction of more pickleball courts. The expansion of pickleball courts is in response to community's feedback, as the sport has become increasingly popular. In 2022, we built the city's first set of pickleball courts at Woodward Park. In October, we celebrated the groundbreaking of 8 new pickleball courts at Rowayton Elementary School, 4 at Ludlow Park, and 5 at the Norwalk Senior Center. This year, we will also focus on improving existing parks and green spaces by adding new amenities such as picnic areas, recreation facilities, and playgrounds. We recently opened several brand new playgrounds, including one at Veterans Park and another at Kendall School. In 2024, we plan to complete many others, including playgrounds at Cranberry Park, Blacks Hill Park, Ludlow Park, Fountain Street Park, Devon's Place, and Marvin School, so that families have a wide variety of places to bring their little ones out to get outside, exercise, and enjoy the fresh air. When it comes to maintaining cleanliness and making improvements across the city, we are also committed to beautifying each of our neighborhoods by addressing more blighted properties and zoning compliance inquiries. Last fall, we launched the Neighborhood Improvement Team in response to the community's feedback to establish a more transparent and stronger enforcement process related to blighted properties and zoning violations. We know that enhancing the quality of life for residents also means bringing people together. Through our conversations with the community, we learned that residents truly value and want more community events, cleanup efforts, and beautification projects to foster a greater sense of socialization and civic pride. Bringing the community together is now more important than ever. Too many people, including children, are not going out socializing enough in person. To help change that, we've invested in more free events where people can come together and have fun. That's why we plan on continuing our summer concert series at Cowpasture Beach, our summer jazz concerts in South Norwalk, as well as our Halloween extravaganza in South Norwalk and holiday extravaganza events in Wall Street and South Norwalk. Furthermore, we wouldn't be able to meet the needs of our residents without our well-established health department that works tirelessly to help ensure the safety and healthy environment for all under the leadership of our health director, Deanna Diamore, who I think is here. Also diligently directed our national accreditation process, leading Norwalk to become the first local health department in the state of Connecticut to achieve accreditation in 2014. Our Norwalk is making substantial progress in improving the quality of life. We also know that we can't properly achieve our goal of enhancing all residents' quality of life without focusing on social equity and inclusion. That's why in 2021, I reinstated the Commission on the Status of Women after it had been inactive since the early 1990s. Norwalk is now one of 2 municipalities in the entire state to have a Commission on the Status of Women. The commission helps the city review and enhance our progress in eliminating gender-based discrimination and improving the overall status of women, girls, and other marginalized gender identities, such as transgender people and gender non-conforming people. When it comes to addressing issues of equity and inclusion, we also have a Fair Rent Commission and an ADA ad hoc committee hard at work. In following through on our commitments to make Norwalk accessible for everyone, we brought on an ADA coordinator to do a comprehensive review of accessibility on city properties. That work is well underway, and we are determined to expand accessibility for everyone in the disability community. I'm also proud that we renewed our commitment to our Fair Rent Office and now have a full-time Fair Rent Officer. Over the last year, the Fair Rent Office has served 426 households in the city and has invested nearly $1 million in initiatives to provide housing stability. Access to safe, affordable housing is a major issue across our state and nation and in the city of Norwalk. And the city of Norwalk is committed to supporting housing stability because we believe that everyone deserves a roof over their head and a warm bed in which to sleep. That's why we've made housing a major priority, especially affordable housing. I want to thank Adam Babilski, the Executive Director of the Norwalk Housing Authority, who has led multiple affordable housing efforts while working closely with the city, as well as state and federal partners. To address housing stability, we are conducting an affordable housing study, which will not only exceed the requirements of the state, but will put the city on a path towards addressing the housing needs of residents. One of the main goals of the housing study is to help residents from the lower income groups, specifically those who fall into the income gap between $35,000 and $65,000 per year. These residents often make too much money to be eligible for assistance through the housing authority, yet don't make enough money to afford workforce housing. The housing study will help identify how many people fall into this gap and will develop strategies to help them. Simultaneously, we've assembled an affordable housing advisory committee, which will oversee the study and make actionable housing policy recommendations. In 2022, after recognizing how many members of our community were struggling, especially following the onset of the pandemic, we launched our Community Resource Hub. The Community Resource Hub is housed in our Community Services Department, led by Lamont Daniels, my Chief of Community Services. It is designed to have family navigators within the department directly connect residents with a food pantry, clothing, employment resources, or health-related support, including mental health services. Our family navigators are incredible. They meet with residents daily and offer their services in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. In 2023, our Community Resources Hub served nearly 1,000 households and 2,500 residents. When it comes to connecting residents with employment opportunities, we recently invested $170,000 in workforce development to coordinate with local employers and help Norwalk residents identify the skills needed to secure living wage jobs. But our commitment to social equity has to go further. We have to reflect on what we've done well and what we can do better to help make sure we're properly addressing inequities. That's why I'm also proud to share that we are investing $150,000 in an innovative, equity-driven South Norwalk community plan to ensure we are balancing economic and community development for all residents. This effort was created in partnership with the Norwalk Redevelopment Agency, led by Executive Director Brian Bedoli, and aims to enhance economic opportunities for South Norwalk residents. Usually using a social equity lens, we plan to have more conversations with the South Norwalk community about new ways the city and redevelopment agency can better support residents on a variety of issues, including housing. A lot of meaningful work happens when we allow ourselves to reflect on where we've been and look to where we want to go. We don't get there by continuing the status quo. We get there by being honest with ourselves and being willing to make big changes that may seem uncomfortable at first. That's why I initiated a comprehensive efficiency study of the city and Norwalk Public Schools in 2020, which was completed in 2022. I wanted to bring in a fresh pair of eyes to identify areas of opportunity and improvement by assessing how we could maximize organizational effectiveness and cost efficiencies. I want to thank the Norwalk Public Schools for their partnership in that effort. We have implemented many of the recommendations immediately and are continuing to make meaningful steps to implement many of the others. It's also why in 2018, I proposed a comprehensive reorganization of the city government's administrative structure, a change that at the time, many referred to as unprecedented in modern Norwalk history. At that time, I had more than 20 direct reports, and many departments that should have been working closely together were working in silos. As a result, we created several new departments and grouped departments together that were doing similar work and put them under a chief of staff, a senior cabinet level supervisor who reports directly to me. The reorganization increased efficiency, filled gaps in city services, and helped us reimagine what was possible in the city of Norwalk. One of the new departments formed by the reorganization was our Transportation, Mobility, and Parking Department. Under the leadership of Jim Travers and Garrett Villela, the director and assistant director of the department, the city is developing a complete streets plan and reimagining what future designs of our streets will look like. While working closely with the community, the department received a lot of ideas and feedback about how residents envision their streets. The city of Norwalk is determined to redesign the streets to better incorporate the safety, mobility, and accessibility needs of all road users, regardless of age, ability, or their choice of transportation mode. This department has also paved the way towards revitalizing the Wall Street corridor after decades of inaction installing on what was once a vibrant downtown area before the 1955 flood. My administration's commitment to the Wall Street corridor, combined with my transportation, mobility, and parking team's efforts to finally get these smart infrastructure projects off the ground, have led us to this point. from intersections to bike facilities, crosswalks, sidewalks, lighting, and more, we are ready to move forward. Thanks to funding support at every level of government, including federal and state levels, Norwalk expects to spend $27 million on these improvements. After receiving a lot of feedback from the community on design plans, this year we will start Wall Street Phase 1 construction of the project between Brooks and Main Street and the concrete repair and facade improvements of the Yankee Doodle Garage. We also recently replaced the old rusting fence at Freeze Park and removed the invasive trees along the riverbed, something I've wanted to do since I was first elected. For all of these revitalization efforts and with input and support of our residents, we will help grow our local economy, sustain our small business community, and make a lasting impact on the future of Wall Street, something long overdue. The reorganization's creation of our Economic and Community Development Department and Business Development and Tourism Department under the leadership of Chief Jessica Bonashek and Director Sabrina Gadeski has also allowed us to change the way we operate by making new commitments to our small business community. By partnering with small business and the Norwalk Chambers of Commerce, we have prioritized growing our local economy and increasing local jobs. Since the inception of the Business Development and Tourism Department in the city in 2018, the city has reached out to over 500 businesses and launched our Norwalk Business Development Center, the first of its kind in Fairfield County, dedicated to attracting and supporting businesses to Norwalk. Since 2018, the department has committed over $4.7 million to support local businesses through city and federal funding. Of the $4.7 million the city has already committed, over $2 million has been allocated to the small business community through grants from the COVID-19 mitigation program, the Kiva micro grant program, the Norwalk Innovations Program, and the Storefront Improvement Program. Of the business-related funding distributed citywide, more than 75% has gone to women and minority-owned businesses. The city will use the remaining $2.7 million for additional grants to help our small business community thrive. This community-focused approach has also led to the city seeing a healthy and steady increase in a diverse set of businesses, including registering over 550 new businesses since the beginning of COVID. My final major priority for my sixth term has been consistent throughout all of my terms. I want to do everything we can to keep property taxes down for our residents. As I mentioned earlier, many people in our community are struggling financially. Many people grew up here and want to stay here because they love Norwalk. And we want to help make sure they can continue to afford to live in the community that they call home. We simply cannot increase people's property taxes to the point where we are jeopardizing residents' ability to continue to afford to live here. Property taxes are top of my mind as we enter another budget season. And I'm proud that in the city of Norwalk, we have maintained the lowest mill rate or tax rate compared to other similar towns and cities, including Bristol, Danbury, Hartford, Meriden, New Haven, Stamford, and Waterbury. We need a budget that meets the critical service needs of our students, our seniors, and all our residents, while simultaneously making sure we don't increase people's taxes at an unreasonable rate. And with the hard work and thoughtfulness of our Common Council and our Board of Education, I know we will strike the right balance. On another financial note, I'm happy to report that Norwalk has established itself as a financially responsible city through its grand list and rainy day fund, among other financial metrics. We have members of our tax collector, our controller here as well. From fiscal year 2013 to 2022, the city of Norwalk's grand list has had a more than 15% increase, equivalent to nearly $2 billion. Our rainy day fund remains strong and continues to be a contributing factor as to why all three major rating agencies reaffirmed Norwalk's AAA bond rating. Receiving a AAA bond rating is the highest possible rating that can be awarded to the municipal level and helps us financially plan for the future by alerting investors that Norwalk is a responsible and financially stable city in which to invest. As I wrap up, I also want to acknowledge a few other recent achievements, starting with the excellent work of our fire and police departments we are deeply grateful to all of our Norwalk's first responders. Our fire department has increased its inspections and continues to respond to nearly 800 calls for service each month between emergency medical services and fires. I think I speak for everyone in the city of Norwalk when I say thank you to our fire department for keeping us safe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thank you. Norwalk's crime rate is down thanks to the professionalism within our police department and their outstanding community outreach policing efforts. Since 2014, aggravated assault is down nearly 70%, burglary is down 56%, and robbery is down nearly 60%. Norwalk is a safe city. Furthermore, as you may recall, in 2022, we added our first embedded clinician in the police department's behavioral health unit to divert calls involving emotional and mental health crises from traditional law enforcement to civilian clinicians. In 2023, we added a second embedded clinician, and since 2022, we have seen a 40% decrease in mental health crises-related calls to the police department. 2023, our police department also successfully reached the recommended staffing level of 183 sworn personnel. I want to thank the police department for their hard work and unwavering commitment to keeping our community safe. Finally, as you all know, the city of Norwalk is not afraid to take on tough challenges in exchange for building a brighter future for our residents. Because of so many people in this room who rolled up their sleeve and got to work, we now have a newly adopted modernized zoning code and a brand new city charter. After getting immense public input, Norwalk's Planning and Zoning Commission, led by Chairman Lou Schulman, adopted a comprehensive rewrite of its zoning code. Prior to our new zoning code, it had been nearly 40 years since it had been updated. As a result, residents had been stuck with an outdated, hard to understand, antiquated document that was not in line with modern day best practices. And thanks to our Charter Revision Commission and the citizens of Norwalk, we also have a newly adopted charter after its first one was adopted over 100 years ago. I want to thank our co-chairs, Patsy Brescia and Rick McQuaid, and other members of the Charter Revision Commission for their dedication and for this effort. I want to thank everyone here tonight and those who tuned in, and every Norwalk resident in our community. It is our residents' input and continued active participation in our democracy that makes our government work. So, residents of Norwalk, thank you for instilling your confidence in me as we work together to build a brighter future for every single community member. Lastly, but certainly not least, I want to thank my wife, the First Lady of Norwalk, Lucia Rilling, who is here this evening, for her love and support and for her shared commitment to continuing to make Norwalk the greatest city in Connecticut and even our nation. She's a person who has volunteered on the board of Person to Person, Catholic Charities, Room to Grow, and works with many other organizations. I think sometimes she's busier than I am. So having said all that, I do again thank you all for being here. Thank you all. God bless the city of Norwalk and God bless all of you.